Thank you for your interest in watching a video on the standards for FTCC ADA using the Form R5 FTCC Online Course Quality Rubric. The R5 form is used to ensure your online course meets quality standards. In this video, we will break down and identify the components directly related to ADA compliance. Let's make our way through the rubric. Section 1, Course Overview and Information. In Section 1, there are many areas not spelled out as ADA requirements, so let me make sure to point some of these out to you. Number 1, course content needs to open in a new window. Many requirements in this section state opens in a new window, but what does that mean? It must be stated the content opens in a new window, and the act of opening in a new window or tab must happen. Whether it's a hyperlink or a document, all content must open in a new window. Let's take a look at a course printable syllabus listed as number 3 in the Course Overview and Information category. If we click on the Course Syllabus button, we will see the text stating it opens in a new window. And when we click the file link, it does in fact open in a new window. The simple act of attaching a file in Blackboard using the paperclip or the file attachment option will prompt the file to open in a new window blank, as shown here. Number 2, also included in Section 1, Course Overview and Information, is multiple categories of links and resources to be provided. If a link is provided in a course, it must open in a new window. For example, let's click on Student Support. Notice it opens in a new window. This is ADA compliant. As we look through all of the requirements in Section 1, Course Overview and Information, we must remind ourselves that all content added into the learning management system must open in a new window. Let's move on to Section 2, Course Technology and Tools. In this section, standards 10 through 14 mostly need to ensure resources and activities open in a new window. We have already hit that topic pretty hard, so let's start our focus on standards 14. Any technology tool used meets accessibility standards. Let me click into Module 3 of the ACA class. One of the resources in the course is Financial Basics, ECMC. Notice when I click the link, the site opens in a new window. I have no problem clicking through the site to use the tools, but I can see. I'm not using a reader. How would this read to a blind student? The window would read top to bottom and left to right. How would an instructor know if this or any tool is compliant? One method to identify if a reader will process through the content properly is to use the tab method. This simply means you hit the tab button to make your way through the content. If the tab stops on every item, you know it has functionality and readability in a reader. Look, as I click ECMC, it forms a black box around the words. As I hit the tab button, it moves from top to bottom and left to right. Without a professional to analyze this tool, I would feel comfortable saying this resource or tool is ADA compliant. Standard 15 in Section Design and Layout discusses a logical and uncluttered navigation. With the use of the FTCC course template provided on the FTCC website and the standards outlined for Blackboard courses, I would feel confident to say our navigation is not cluttered. It does mention in Standard 15, content is organized together. In this example, the navigation is organized and separated with related items. Standards 16 through 22 deal with formatting of content. I will address all of these standards as a group. Let's first discuss color. If too much color is used, or if too many fonts and sizes are created, the course can become unreadable and difficult to understand. I have hidden an item under the Faculty Only button. Let's take a look at its readability. Compare the item at the top, "Instructors do this to your course," to the item below, "Instructors do not do this." The top item is well organized using the buttons in the Blackboard menu. The bottom item is simply not readable because of color, contrast, and font size. White backgrounds are okay and encouraged. Black text on a white background is not boring. It is readable. Also, notice in the item, "Instructors do not do this," the use of asterisks, dots, and symbols to identify as bullets. Let's enter into the item and ensure the proper method is used for creating easy-to-read and ADA-compliant text. First, let me use the Remove Formatting button to clear out some of this color. Now, I will remove the fake bullets. I'm going to use the proper method of adding bullets by using the menu button, Number List. Now, that's compliant. Also, instead of leaving my heading with basic formatting, I want to swap it from paragraph formatting into a heading format that will give the reader a table of contents. This will not only improve readability, but enhance the structure. Now, I'm going to do a quick review and check my font. My current font is Arial. Arial is good because we want to ensure we are using sans serif font. I also do not have any blinking or animation, and my content is free of background images. The standard font size used in Blackboard is appropriate for ADA compliance. I do not need to adjust the font size. Let's move on to standards 23 through 27 in Category 3 of Design and Layout. To cover this content, I will use a Microsoft Office Word file to identify requirements and point out compliant options. Requirement 23 says, when possible, information is displayed in a linear format instead of a table. Take a look at the example Word file. The content is displayed both in a table and linear format. Both formats share the same information, and it's readable in both formats. The reason why linear format is recommended is because tables require more compliance steps than linear text. Requirements 24 and 25 will admit that tables must have a title and a summary description and identifies the need for repeated header rows. Let's take a look. If I select my table, I can right-click and choose Table Properties. In the table properties, I need to ensure I identify a header row to repeat. But look, I have the whole table selected. I need to go back and select just one row that will repeat. Why would one row need to repeat? The header row is repeated as the table is read, top to bottom and left to right. For example, this table would read Module, Assignments, Due, Module Orientation Module, Assignments, Explore the course, not graded, Print Assignment Guide, and so on. Do you see how repeating the header row is important, especially if there are many rows in the table? Select just the header row and identify it as the Repeat Header Row. I can also select this on my Table Tools Layout tab. Before I leave tables, I need to make sure to add my alt text title and description. Let me select my table and go back into the table properties, and on the alt text tab, give a title and description. All of these steps are important for compliance. Step 1. Ensure the data can be read top to bottom and left to right. Step 2. Ensure you have a repeated header row. And Step 3. Give the table a title and description. If you do not feel comfortable completing these tasks, try releasing your text in a linear format without the use of a table. Requirements 26 and 27 in Category 3, Design and Layout, will need a PowerPoint presentation for visual explanation. Let's pull up this PowerPoint, GEB Biofuels. Requirement 26 says the slideshow uses predefined slide layouts and includes unique title slides. Let's take a look. Predefined layouts are the layouts released under the Home tab, Layout button, or Home tab New Slide down arrow. If we were to add a new slide to the presentation, I would want to use the available layouts and use them as intended. For example, let's add a slide after slide 1. I will select the down arrow on the New Slide button, and let's select Title and Content. Now, I will type a title. However, it cannot be a title previously used in the presentation because the titles are the equivalent of the table of contents. If I select the View tab and the Outline View button, I can quickly and easily see the slide titles. It looks like we've done a great job of not duplicating slide titles. We must keep it that way. Let's go back to our normal view by clicking the Normal View button. If I click and add my title, then I click to add my text, I am using the slide layout properly. However, let's say I get a little wild and I decide to add an image into this slide. I would not be using the layout properly because there is not a content box for the image, and therefore I will not have the proper reading order. The slide would not be compliant. If I wanted to add an image, I would need to change my layout to Content. For example, let's check this presentation for accessibility. We will select File, check for Issues, check Accessibility. I can see slide 1 has a reading order problem. I'll bet $5 it's because the image was added without a layout. Let's delete this image. Look, now I do not have any issues with the reading order. The same goes with slide 5 and so on. If I were to start looking at the errors listed in this file, I can quickly see that all of these errors deal with an addition of images added to slides without adding them to the proper layout. I would need to delete the images and add them through the layout in order to fix the errors listed. Requirement 27 states that our presentation must be simple without transitions on the slides. If a transition were added to a slide, a star would be posted on the preview. Let me share. I will select slide 1. Click the Transitions tab and place a transition on the slide by selecting one. See the star? Under the number 1, there's a star. That star represents a transition. To remove transitions, select your slide or slides and choose None on the Transitions tab. Now we can move on to Section 4, Content and Activities. In Section 4, the first requirement dealing with ADA compliance is Requirement 32 and 33, which states alt text must be used for pictures or elements. Alt text is easily added in a Word file or online with a few simple steps. Whether it's an image or an item, the steps are similar. Let's take a look at an image I added to the Word file. This image needs alt text. To add the alt text, I can simply select the image and on the Picture Tools Format tab, or by right-clicking, I can type in the alt text. In the newer versions of Microsoft, I can click to mark the image as decorative, which will null the image so the reader will skip over the item. You can do the same thing in your learning management system. While in Blackboard, select the image you have added, or you will be prompted for alt text when you add a new image. Add your title and description. If your image is decorative, you can type null, which will prompt a reader to skip over the coding for reading that image. Requirement 34 says that text should be used as a primary method for delivering information. This means we should refrain from saying things like, complete all of the red items listed, or breaking things into group based by color. Group A completes the blue items and Group B completes the red items. Instead, bullet the items and give instructions based on numbers or come up with a method of delivering instructions not based on color. Requirement 35 discusses the proper use of hyperlinks. I will go back to the Blackboard class and click into Module 3. Notice the resource hyperlinks all have a description of the resource. The hyperlink is released and it opens in a new window. It says it opens in a new window. This is the proper way to release a hyperlink. Refrain from words like click here, which may sound foolproof but cause complications in readers. Lucky for us, there are no specific documented tasks in Section 6, Assignment and Feedback, that are specific to ADA compliance. I hope you have found this video helpful in assisting you to create or check your course with ADA compliance. Good luck!
To ensure the Form R5 FTCC Online Course Quality Rubric is used properly, we will use the pyramid model. Here is a visual representation of the pyramid model. Let's examine how the pyramid model works. Level 1. Faculty and staff will create or verify that 100% of course materials implemented into Blackboard or used digitally are ADA compliant for each course. Level 2. 10% of those documents and/or course materials will be randomly selected by the academic department chair to check for ADA compliance using the R5 form. On this level, the department chair may choose to check more than 10% of the courses for compliance standards. Level 3. 10% of the department chair selections will be compliance checked by the dean of the program. On this level, the department dean may choose to check more than 10% of the courses for compliance standards. Level 4. 10% of the dean's selections will be randomly chosen and checked for ADA compliance by the Disability Support Services Coordinator or Director. On this level, the overseer of the pyramid model will select more than 10% of the dean's findings to check for ADA compliance standards. Next, we will discuss how to save the R5 forms for each course. Once the R5 forms are completed by academic departments or programs, the reviewer will save the data into the L drive file folder named Course Quality Rubric. The R5 forms will be saved as follows: course name, course number, section number, semester, and year. Here is an example. All capital letters, edu _ 119 _ 0001 _ all capital letters, FA _ 2020. Each department has its own file folder in the L drive. Reviewers will click on the file folder that aligns with the academic department or program. The department chairs will have a specific folder to save the R5 form that is titled Department _ Chairs. The deans will have a specific folder to save the R5 form data that is titled Dean. The Disability Support Services Coordinator or Director will have a specific folder to archive the final review of the dean's findings located in the DSSO file folder. A department chair is considered secured Level 1, which means he or she can only access the file folder within the academic department. A dean's file folder is the secured Level 2, which means that he or she can access the department chair's review as well as the dean's file folder within his or her own department. Other departments' file folders cannot be accessed. The Disability Support Services Coordinator or Director file folder is secured Level 3, which means the saved R5 forms can be collected and reviewed with full access to the file folders from each department. The Disability Support Services Coordinator or Director will archive the final reviews for future audits from the Office of Civil Rights. Please note, if the reviewers of the R5 form recommend compliance changes, the R5 form for the specific course must be provided to the course manager to make revisions. The reviewer will collaborate with the course manager to reevaluate the R5 form once revisions are finalized, and it will be saved to the appropriate file folder within the L drive.